coming at you with some Halloween sewing inspo. Welcome to the Sewing Report. I'm Jen. This channel is all about making sewing fun and approachable. And yes, I have been working on quite a few different Halloween sewing projects. Here's the deal. At first, I was like, all right, I'm gonna make a big video with a lot of like comprehensive, in-depth sections for all of the different projects. I've been sewing for quite a while and combing through all the footage and starting to cut everything, but it's taking me a lot longer than I expected, and the holiday is fast approaching. I've been kind of behind the ball. I wanted to make sure I got something out in the meantime, and then as time permits, hopefully I can do different videos on some of the individual projects here, but I thought this would be kind of a chatty sew and tell video. I will be walking you through each and every project. Most of these either don't require a pattern, or it's free, or it's like a tutorial. Some of these are my own projects, so I have different videos. Only one of them is a paid pattern. So I think these are pretty beginner friendly. All of them require half a yard of fabric or less. You don't need a ton of fabric for any of these. All of them I would say are relatively quick, fairly easy to make. This bag is probably the most complicated thing out of everything, and I will be linking resources and information links down in the description box. I do use some affiliate links, but everything in this video was purchased myself, not sponsored or anything, so if I shout something out, it's because I genuinely like it. Now, all of the fabric I'm using is from the cutest Halloween fabric collection I've ever seen in my life. I'm not joking. I'm not much of a Halloween person generally, but I saw this fabric line and I just immediately knew I wanted to stock it in my Etsy shop. So I am selling half-yard bundles. You get 6 of these prints, and the fabric collection is called Ghost Town, which is so adorable. The designer is Dana Willard for Figo Fabrics. This is quilting cotton. You will get, for each bundle, you'll get 6 different prints and you'll get a half yard each. So that's a lot of fabric that you could make quite a few different things with. So that's why I wanted to do this, is to give you some ideas for what you can do if you're buying a half yard fabric bundle. But this is so cute. You got the ghosts, you got bats, some kind of geometric blenders. I love this fabric line. I love the colors. Usually when you see Halloween fabric, some of it can be kind of taste specific, but this stuff I think is adorable, and a few of these items would be good for maybe kids in your life, or if you're just real big on Halloween, good for parties, some trick-or-treat bags, and just some cute things for around the house. None of these things are particularly difficult or super time-consuming, and the fabric is available to purchase in my Etsy shop, sewingreport.etsy.com. Now, when I'm putting out this video, at this point, I'm gonna have a hard time 100% guaranteeing you will get this fabric in time for the holidays. So if you're seeing this, you like the fabric, I would order it as soon as possible, because the closer it gets to, the end of October, it's not gonna get to you in time. Of course, if you're seeing this another time of the year, you like the fabric, then you'll have plenty of time for the next time Halloween rolls around. But I really wanted to get this video out in time so that you could get some ideas, get inspired, and also if you do like the fabric, that you can make sure that you get it in time to sew a project. But all of these things are relatively simple, don't require a ton of fabric. Most of these things are free to make, or don't require a pattern. All right, so the first thing, and this I would say is probably the easiest project, is you can make scrunchies. Now, I have a video tutorial I did a couple years ago on my method for making scrunchies, the easiest method I found. So I decided to make 2, one in this pink and purple bat print. These are the smaller bats, and one in the orange ghost prints. These are really cute. So I just cut 5-inch strips with the fabric, which is about 42 inches. And these probably took me an hour to make total. So again, I'll link my previous video. I used I think I used Christmas fabric in the original tutorial, but these are really easy. You could make them for yourself. You could make them as gifts or for your whole crew if you're going out for Halloween. You could sell scrunchies. So it just took 5 inches of fabric, some thread, and some, I think I used 1/4 inch elastic for the inside. I have super thick hair, so these actually worked for me. I could double it up. You don't have to make this particular size. You can make skinnier scrunchies. You could make bigger scrunchies. So I like scrunchies because you can really customize them to your individual needs. So if you have thicker hair, you got thinner hair, you could really make your own scrunchies. You could also use rayon or silk if you want something that definitely doesn't leave dents in your hair and will be a lot gentler on your hair. So you could use rayon, silk, something like that. You can really use any material for this. And then I just closed up, I did kind of the easy cheater way. I just closed up my opening here just with like a top stitch. So it's not too visible. And again, these are kind of just a little quick thing. So here are the scrunchies. All right, I would say the next easiest project. All right, so my mom recently adopted a dog from her friend. So I decided to make the dog, it's a small dog, it's like a Shih Tzu or something. I decided to try making it a little pet bandana. So this was a free, you just have to like sign up for the email list and you'll get an email to you. I got it from the website Quilters Candy, and this one is the size small, and it just required a 15-inch square of fabric. There is quite a bit left over from cutting out this section, but I think it's really cute, and I'm gonna make it in another fabric too, but I thought I would give this to my mom so she could put on her new to her puppy for Halloween. And this was super fast to make as well. I do really like that it has like a curved neckline. You won't get like a bunching up of the fabric. It's all one piece, and I do like that the ends are angled. I think that's really cute. So this is a doggy bandana, and it was a free pattern by Quilters Candy. Only requires 15 inches of fabric, 15 by 15 inch square. This pattern does come in different sizes. So it has like extra small, small, medium, and large, I think. But it was free. You just have to like sign up for the email list, and then you get the pattern emailed to you. So again, everything will be linked down below in the description box. Yeah, this is candy corn. I bought it for the video as like a photography video prop. It's actually a business write-off. Plus, I don't think I actually put it on my business credit card though, but I thought this would be, it gave me an excuse to buy candy. Let's be real. So I'm gonna use this to put in photos and stuff, and then I will get to eat the candy corn, which will be very fun. This one, I don't have a pattern or tutorial on. I was just kind of testing out some techniques for making boxed corners. So this is just like a real basic little tote bag I made out of the purple ghost print. It is lined with this white fabric, and then I used this 1/4 inch twill, like white twill tape. I just got this off of Amazon. I love cotton twill tape. I use it all the time. I also use it to wrap fabric bundles for the shop, but it's just like a real basic little bag. In hindsight, I probably would have made the bag a little shorter, like so it was more like this. It was kind of just an experimental project, I'm just being honest. But it came out okay, but I tried a new technique that I saw on Instagram to get the boxed corners to line up perfectly, because I always struggle with that. In general, the technique worked okay. It worked the best on this side. On this side, it's not quite as even. I did learn a bit from the standard way of doing boxed corners. My lining didn't work out quite as well. And then on the inside, I just, oh wait, where? I forgot where. Oh, so I closed up the project. I left an opening in the lining here. And then after I turned the project right side out, I just top stitched this little section here. But yeah, my boxed corners on the inside lining didn't work out quite as well, but I liked the overall concept of it. And I was like, okay, because sometimes you try those viral sewing hacks and you kind of wonder, is this actually good? Is this actually going to work? It kind of did. It wasn't 100% perfect, but that also could be user error. But this could be a little gift bag or like a little trick-or-treat bag. You could make this a little larger, and I would probably use more substantial handles here, but this was just sort of a little test project, and I just thought I would use the Halloween fabric. But the fabric is this fabric is so friggin' cute. All right, next up is these mug rugs. I do have a step-by-step tutorial on the channel that I did it like a few years ago, so again, I will link it. This I used 3 fabrics, and this is a really great scrappy project. So I used the orange ghosts, and this was actually scraps from like other things I was making. So these are actually scraps. So I kind of pieced together this, and then I have a downloadable template available on my website, sewingreport.com. And then the backing is this pink geometric, kind of looks like Pac-Man sort of stuff on the back. And this is a faux binding. So it's where you just fold the back over to the front, and I featured this in my last previous glue basting video. So I made 2 mug rugs. It's fabric, then a layer of quilt batting, then a piece of fairly heavy cotton canvas. And that actually gives this project some good shape. It makes it a bit more substantial so it holds up. But these would be great for you to just, if you're just looking for something to use up some scraps or make some really quick gifts. So say you make a set of 4 or 6, you could gift these to somebody. You could sell this in your, at craft fairs or on your own Etsy shop. And yeah, it's really cute. So, and then you can set your coffee mug on here, coffee mug or glass. And of course it's, should be pretty self-explanatory, but it's sort of like a coaster mug rug. Last project, this was the most difficult out of all of these, but it was still pretty easy. Not a very difficult project. This is a Japanese knot bag. I have been wanting to make a Japanese knot bag for quite some time. I've looked at so many tutorials and patterns, but it was one of those projects that just sort of, for whatever reason, it did intimidate me a bit. I don't know why, but I finally found a pattern that I felt jived with my sewing skills. And so how a Japanese knot bag style works is, this is kind of reversible, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. But so it's got these handles. This would actually be a really good trick-or-treat bag for the kids. I made mine reversible, so I use the larger bat print. This pattern comes in 2 sizes. Now this is the paid pattern, and I got this from, you can actually get the a digital pattern on Etsy, but this is called the Japanese knot bag, and the pattern designer is Sewn Wyoming. So Sewn Wyoming. And okay, so the small size requires a fat quarter and the large size requires a half yard, which is perfect. Now I will preface this by saying this pattern was pretty inexpensive, so I was fine with this. The instructions are like, this is more of like a little, I'm not going to show it to you because out of respect to the designer, but shout out to Sewn Wyoming, because out of all of the patterns and tutorials I've seen, this one was the easiest for me to understand and execute. So that's why I decided to go with this one. I'm happy with it. I think for the price of the pattern, I'm a satisfied customer, but I do want to preface this by saying the instructions aren't as extensive as other indie pattern designers. She does have a YouTube video for how to do the trickiest part of the pattern, which is basically you start by sewing the handle parts, then you kind of like turn that inside out, and that was a little bit confusing, but she has a video for the most difficult part of the construction. And after that, I really didn't have a hard time figuring the rest of it out. But I thought this was very cute. And so one side has a short handle and then the other side is a long handle. And to carry this, you just slip the long side into the short handle, and then that's how you carry the bag, because it sort of looks like a knot. Now, it doesn't say it's reversible, but I made it reversible. So the 2 areas where there's an opening are, there's a section on this short side of the handle where you end up like sewing shut. And then there's another section on the inside, or the lining, that you're also supposed to leave open for turning, and then you can sew that shut. Because I wanted this to be reversible, I took the time to hand sew these openings closed. So now you really can't tell. I think I just did like a ladder stitch. So this is where one of the areas where I sewed it closed. So you can't really tell. And now it is reversible. So I chose the kitty witches for the inside. But because I chose to hand stitch all of the openings closed, it gave it a really nice, neat finish. It didn't take me a super long time. And now I have a truly reversible knot bag. I'm going to move this out of the way. I do think it's super, super cute. The only part that I would say got me tripped up is when you're sewing this side seam at this point. Mine is not totally perfect, but it's not it's really not noticeable. This part was like kind of tricky to get right. I'll just say that. Is just these side seams. And I also had to press this bag quite a bit, because it does have a tendency to wrinkle in some parts, but really cute finished result. And it wasn't super difficult. So I would recommend this, especially if you're looking for, and also I have some drawstring bag tutorials here on the channel from my holiday sewing series. Those would also be a good option if you're looking to make trick-or-treat bags There's so many options. You could do fabric baskets, but I think this would be a really good, it doesn't hold like a massive amount of candy, but I would say it would hold a decent amount of candy. Here, let me try to put the candy corns inside. All right, so here, let me put this inside here. So here's my candy, you know, trick or treat. Might be good for like younger kids, or, you know, maybe if you're gonna eat the candy as you're walking. I don't know, but I thought this was super cute. This, again, this is the large size, and the pattern designer is Sewn Wyoming. So those are the Halloween projects I've made so far. I do hope you enjoyed taking a look at my own sewing projects, but hopefully I get some additional videos out explaining some of these projects. But this is sort of a chatty show and tell. Hopefully, please understand. I was like, guys, I've been combing through all my footage for probably a week, and I'm still not even close to being done. So I wanted to put out something. I also can't help it. I want to share my cute Halloween projects. I just think they're adorable. So let me know down in the comments, what are you sewing anything for Halloween? What is on your bucket list for Halloween projects? But hopefully this gave you some ideas. And again, I will link everything down below in the description box. And this ghost town fabric, I do have some bundles available in the Etsy shop, sewingreport.etsy.com. And I have tons of other tutorials and videos here on the channel. I am Jen with the Sewing Report. I'll see you again in the next one. And remember, whatever you're doing, make it fun.